You know, sometimes paying more for coffee is okay because you're getting a better quality product. I traveled to a coffee shop in my area that takes quality very seriously. They're using science and technology to change the coffee industry. Check it out. Ember Coffee in Big Lake, Minnesota may look like a typical coffee shop with baristas brewing espresso and cold brew. Perfect. But owners Elisa and Matt Berry
it had to be good coffee.
Didn't want to make ordinary coffee. They wanted to change it.
I'm drinking coffee every single day. I want to make sure that what I'm putting into my body is good, right? It's good for me. I'm not, I don't have to worry about pesticides and things like that.
Matt says it all starts with the beans. Roasted here at the coffee shop using a special technique called air roasting.
This is our air roaster.
Unlike most roasters that use a metal surface, air roasting uses hot air.
So right now it's around 480 degrees. It'll eventually get up to somewhere around between 650 to 800 degrees. A coffee bean itself will crack open, so we call that the moment of first crack.
During the roasting process, the outer layer of the coffee bean comes off and gets sucked up by a vacuum.
Your green coffee has a membrane on it. That green coffee membrane, once it separates, is called chaff. This chaff is what actually creates some of the harsh acidity that bothers people's stomachs. Our customers tell us that those who haven't been able to drink coffee because it bothers their stomachs, they can actually drink air-roasted coffee because of the lack of the negative acidity that's in the coffee.
So if you often get a sore stomach after drinking coffee, perhaps air roasted might be the way to go. Here at Ember Coffee, they're also experimenting with coffee pods.
A lot of the coffee that people buy on the grocery store shelves or at a big box store that is single-serve packaging, actually the coffee is stale.
Matt says it has to be, otherwise the pods would explode. When coffee is roasted, he says the beans will off-gas CO2. If you package the beans too quickly, that CO2 can build up in the pod or the bag and eventually explode.
Natural gases inside of the coffee that as time goes on, they release, and that actually is what carries the great flavors. So if you open up a bag of coffee and you smell it and you're like, wow, that smells amazing. That's the result of off-gassing. The problem though is when you put fresh coffee into a pod and you slap a foil seal on it, not too much time is going to go by and that foil seal is going to pop.
That's why a lot of the coffee you'll find on the shelf is older than you might think.
When you look for a best by date, best if used by date, you don't know exactly when that was actually roasted. You hope that it was roasted in the last year, but it could be much older.
To bring more fresh coffee to the consumer, several companies are now developing and experimenting with coffee pods that can breathe and release their gases, so the packaging doesn't explode.
We buy these special pods that have a one-way valve on the pod itself. That allows us to put freshly roasted coffee, just like you saw. We can put that in here, we can seal it up, we can sell it to our customers, and they can have coffee that may be, as little as 3 days old from having been roasted.
Matt says a handful of coffee roasters are now using these newer coffee pods. So if you like the convenience of single use, but you also want your coffee to be fresh, he says check and see if any roasters in your area are using them. And when it comes to fresh and flavorful coffee, he says you can't go wrong with buying local.
You're going to want to look for coffee that ideally is roasted like in your state, or even better, like in your county. You're going to have a higher likelihood of that coffee being really fresh.